My name is Sienna Carter. I'm 28 years old, and 6 weeks ago, I woke up from a coma to discover my stepbrother Kyle had sold my house. The house my grandmother left me when she died. The house I'd owned for 3 years. He forged my signature on the deed while I was unconscious in a hospital bed, fighting for my life. But here's what Kyle didn't know. The notary who stamped those documents was Becca Martinez, a girl from my high school history class, the same girl I'd defended from bullies 10 years ago. And Becca had been waiting for me to wake up. Before I tell you how I destroyed Kyle at his own party, let me take you back to the day everything changed. The key wouldn't turn. I stood on my front porch, home from the hospital after 6 weeks in a coma, and my own house key didn't work. My hands were shaking. My head still wrapped in bandages. The doctor said I was lucky to be alive after the drunk driver hit me head on. I tried the key again. Nothing. Then the door opened from inside. A stranger stood there, a man in his 30s wearing a bathrobe. My bathrobe. "Can I help you?" he asked, confused. I looked past him into my living room. It was empty. No couch, no grandmother's rocking chair, no family photos on the walls, just bare floors and moving boxes. "This is my house," I whispered. He shook his head. "No, we bought this place 2 weeks ago, closed escrow last Friday." He pulled out a folded paper from the hall table. "Here's the deed, signed by Sienna Carter." He showed me my own signature. Except I'd been in a coma 2 weeks ago. I called my father from my car, my whole body shaking. He didn't answer. 3 calls, straight to voicemail. Then Kyle's number flashed on my screen, calling me back. "Sienna, hey, Dad said you called?" His voice was too smooth, too calm. "Kyle, what happened to my house?" Silence for 3 seconds. "We need to talk. Come to Dad's place for dinner tonight. We'll explain everything." He hung up before I could respond. I sat in my car, staring at the house that wasn't mine anymore. The house Grandma had left me in her will 3 years ago. The house I'd painted every room of by myself. The house where I'd planned to start my life. Now strangers lived there, and somehow I'd apparently sold it while unconscious. Dinner at Dad's house felt like walking into an ambush. My father sat at the head of the table, my stepmom Angela beside him, Kyle across from me, smirking. I didn't waste time. "Someone sold my house while I was in a coma. I want to know who and why." Dad cleared his throat. Angela spoke first. "Kyle was in trouble, Sienna. Bad trouble. He owed money to some very dangerous people, loan sharks. They were threatening him." Kyle jumped in. "We had to act fast. You weren't using the house anyway. You were just lying there." My stomach turned. I was in a coma. I was fighting to survive. Angela's voice got sharp. "And we were fighting to save this family. Your brother needed help." Not my brother, I thought. My stepbrother. Big difference. "We did what we had to do," Dad said quietly. He wouldn't look at me. Kyle slid an envelope across the table. Inside was a check for $500. "Your share," he said. "Consider it a gift." I stared at the check. $500 for a house worth $240,000. "This is theft," I said. My voice shook. Kyle leaned back in his chair. "It's family helping family. Don't be dramatic." I looked at my father, waiting for him to say something. Anything. He just stared at his plate. Angela stood up. "If you're going to be ungrateful and make a scene, you can leave. We saved Kyle's life. You should be proud." Kyle leaned close and whispered so only I could hear. "You're lucky you woke up at all, sis. Don't push your luck." It felt like a threat. I had nowhere to go. My apartment lease had ended while I was in the hospital. My savings account was nearly empty after 6 weeks without pay. I asked if I could sleep on their couch just for one night. Angela said yes, but her eyes said no. I lay on that couch for 2 hours, staring at the ceiling, my mind racing. Then Kyle appeared. He grabbed my bag and threw it toward the front door. "You need to leave. Your negative energy is stressing Mom out." I sat up. It's midnight. Where am I supposed to go? He opened the door. Not my problem. I looked toward the hallway where Dad's bedroom was. "Dad," I called out. His shadow appeared in the window. He looked at me, then he turned away and the light went off. He chose Kyle over me. I slept in my old sedan in a Walmart parking lot that night. The temperature dropped to 40 degrees. I had one thin blanket from the hospital. I shivered until dawn, crying so hard my chest hurt. This was my family, the people who were supposed to protect me. Instead, they'd robbed me while I was unconscious and thrown me out like garbage. When the sun came up, I made a decision. I wasn't going to just disappear. I was going to fight. The next morning, I drove to the county clerk's office. I needed to see the deed myself. The clerk pulled up the file and printed me a copy. I stared at the signature. It looked like mine, but the loops were wrong. The slant was off. It was a forgery. Then I saw the notary stamp at the bottom. My heart stopped. The name read, Rebecca Martinez, Notary Public. Becca? I knew that name. We'd gone to Lincoln High together, sophomore year history class. She'd been quiet, shy, always sitting in the back. A group of girls used to bully her mercilessly, called her names, knocked her books off her desk. One day I'd had enough. I stood up in the middle of class and told them to stop. They turned on me instead, but Becca never forgot. She'd written me a note at the end of the year. "Thank you for seeing me when no one else did." Now her name was on the document that stole my house? Had she betrayed me too? Or was something else going on? I found Becca's notary office online, Martinez Mobile Notary Services, an address downtown. I drove there immediately, my hands gripping the steering wheel so tight my knuckles turned white. The office was small, tucked between an insurance agency and a nail salon. I pushed through the door, ready to scream. Becca looked up from her desk. Her eyes went wide. "Sienna," she breathed. She stood quickly, walked to the door, and locked it. Then she put a finger to her lips. "I've been waiting for you to wake up," she whispered. She pulled open a file drawer and took out a thick folder. "I didn't verify that signature. I trapped him." She handed me a USB drive. "You need to hear what he said when he thought the camera was off." I sat in my car in the parking lot and plugged the USB drive into my phone. The video opened. It showed Kyle sitting in Becca's office, holding the forged deed. He was laughing. Then his voice came through crystal clear. "My sister is a vegetable. She's never waking up. The doctor said severe brain damage. Just stamp it so I can get my money and pay off these guys before they break my legs." Becca's voice responded, "I need to verify the signature matches her ID." Kyle's laugh got mean. "She's brain dead. Who's gonna check? Just do it." The video ended. I sat there shaking, not from cold this time, from pure rage. My own stepbrother had called me a vegetable, had bet on me never waking up. I went back inside. Becca was waiting. "I didn't stamp it," she said. "Not really. I filed the deed with a deliberate clerical error code. It's a legal trap. If the sale is challenged within 90 days, it's automatically void." My heart jumped. "How long do I have?" Becca checked her computer. 48 hours. After that, the error window closes and the sale becomes permanent. 2 days. I had 2 days to prove fraud and get my house back. Becca pulled out more papers. I documented everything. The forged signature, his confession on camera, the fact that he never provided your power of attorney. I also reported it to the Notary Licensing Board the same day, but they said they needed you to file a police report first. I went straight to the police station. The detective assigned to my case was named Morrison. He listened to the recording, watched the video, reviewed the forged signature. Then he leaned back in his chair. "This is textbook fraud. Grand larceny, forgery, identity theft." He started typing up the report. "We'll issue an arrest warrant, but I want to wait until we can get him somewhere public. Does he have any events coming up?" I thought about it. Then I remembered. Kyle had posted on social media about his new business launch party this Saturday. He was opening some kind of investment consulting firm with my money. He's throwing a party Saturday night at the Riverside Event Center. Detective Morrison smiled. Perfect. We'll be there. Kyle saw me at the grocery store on Thursday. I was working a minimum wage job stocking shelves just to buy food. He walked down my aisle with his new girlfriend, both of them laughing. Sienna, look at you, working hard, I see. His voice dripped with fake concern. I kept my head down, scanning boxes. He came closer. You know, if you'd just been grateful, we might have let you move back in, but you had to make it weird. His girlfriend giggled. I bit my tongue so hard I tasted blood. I couldn't let him know I had evidence. I had to play the broken victim for 2 more days. Kyle leaned against the shelf. I'm having a launch party Saturday. You should come. Show the family you support us. Maybe Dad will forgive you. Saturday morning, I spent my last $20 at a thrift store. I found a simple black dress that fit. I looked at myself in the changing room mirror. For 6 weeks, I'd been a victim, unconscious, helpless, robbed. But looking at my reflection now, I didn't see a victim anymore. I saw someone who'd survived, someone who was about to fight back. Becca texted me. I'm coming too, bringing the original notary logbook and all the evidence. Detective Morrison said he'll have 2 officers outside. I texted back. Thank you for everything. She replied immediately, You defended me when no one else would. Now it's my turn. I pulled up to the Riverside Event Center at 7 p.m. Through the window, I could see Kyle popping champagne, surrounded by people who had no idea who he really was. I walked through the door. The room went silent. Every head turned. Kyle's smile dropped. Angela rushed over, her face tight with panic. Sienna, what are you doing here? You can't ruin this for him. I smiled warmly, the kind of smile that made her relax. I just want to toast my brother. I want to support the family like you asked. Angela's shoulders dropped. She actually believed me. Dad appeared behind her, looking relieved. That's my girl. I knew you'd come around. They thought I'd broken. They thought I'd given up. Kyle walked over and hugged me stiffly. Glad you're here, sis. Means a lot. He whispered in my ear. Smart choice. Don't mess this up. I pulled back and smiled. I wouldn't dream of it. Kyle took the microphone. The room quieted down. He launched into a speech about his investment genius and how he'd sacrificed everything to build his business. People clapped. He was good at this, making himself sound like a hero. Then he made a joke. Some people sleep through life. Me, I seize the moment. The crowd laughed. He was talking about me, about my coma, treating it like a punchline. I saw Becca slip in through the back door. She caught my eye and nodded. She had her phone in her hand and was walking toward the AV system where Kyle's slideshow was running. I stood up and walked toward the front. Kyle saw me coming and looked nervous for a second. Then I smiled. Kyle, I have a surprise video for you for your big day. Kyle looked confused. What video? I took the microphone from his hand gently. Just a little something to celebrate how far you've come. Becca plugged her phone into the AV cable. The screen behind Kyle went black. Then the video started. It showed Kyle sitting in Becca's office. His voice boomed through the speakers. My sister is a vegetable. She's never waking up. Just stamp it so I can get my money. The room went dead silent. Kyle's face turned white. Turn it off, he hissed. But the video kept playing. She's brain dead. Who's gonna check? On screen, Kyle laughed, that cruel, cold laugh. In the room, people started whispering. Someone said, What is this? Kyle lunged for the AV system, but I stepped in front of him. Everyone needs to hear this. The video ended. I turned to face the crowd. 3 months ago, I was in a car accident. I spent 6 weeks in a coma fighting for my life. While I was unconscious, my stepbrother forged my signature and sold my house, the house my grandmother left me. He stole $240,000 and gave me a check for $500. People gasped. Kyle tried to speak. She's lying. This is edited. This is fake. I pointed to Becca standing by the AV system. That's Rebecca Martinez, the notary Kyle tried to bribe. She recorded everything. She documented his fraud, and she's been waiting for me to wake up so we could bring him down. Sirens started wailing outside. Red and blue lights flashed through the windows. Kyle's eyes went wide with panic. Detective Morrison walked through the door with 2 uniformed officers. Kyle Carter, you're under arrest for fraud, forgery, and grand larceny. Kyle tried to run toward the back exit. One of the officers caught him in 3 steps and tackled him to the ground. The crowd scattered. Some of the investors Kyle had been pitching started shouting, "He scammed us too! He took our deposits!" Kyle was face down on the floor, hands being cuffed behind his back. He was screaming, "Mom! Mom, help me! Tell them it's a misunderstanding!" Angela was crying. Dad just stood there, frozen. The officers hauled Kyle to his feet and walked him toward the door. As they passed me, Kyle looked at me with pure hatred. "You'll pay for this." I looked him dead in the eye. "No, you will." Dad and Angela cornered me while Kyle was being put in the police car outside. "Tell them it was a misunderstanding," Angela begged. "You can't send your brother to prison. He's family." I looked at both of them. My father, who'd watched me get thrown out in the cold. My stepmother, who'd called me ungrateful for being robbed. "He's not my brother," I said quietly. "He's a thief who stole from me while I was dying, and you helped him." Dad reached for my arm. "Sienna, please, don't do this to us." I pulled away. "You did this to yourselves." Angela's face twisted with anger. "You're just like your mother, selfish and cold." I smiled sadly. "My mother would have fought for me. You watched me suffer and did nothing. You're not my family anymore." I walked away while they stood there crying. Monday morning, Becca and I went to the courthouse. Thanks to her clerical error code, the deed was voided within an hour. The judge ruled the sale fraudulent and returned the house to my name immediately. Because the sale was void, the innocent buyers got their money back from the frozen escrow account. Kyle had 0 money left for a lawyer. He was looking at 5 to 10 years in prison. That afternoon, I stood on my front porch with the new keys in my hand. The house was empty and dirty, but it was mine again. Inside, I found one box Kyle hadn't thrown away, my grandmother's photo album. I sat on the floor and cried, happy tears this time. A knock came at the door an hour later. I opened it to find Dad and Angela standing there with suitcases. "We sold our furniture to post Kyle's bail," Dad said. They denied it. "We have nowhere to go. Can we stay here, just until we get back on our feet?" I thought about the night I'd slept in my car, shivering, crying, begging for help. I thought about Dad's shadow in the window turning away from me. I smiled. "You watched me sleep in a car in a Walmart parking lot. You can do the same." I handed them a restraining order I'd filed that morning. "You're not allowed within 500 feet of me or this property. If you come back, you'll be arrested." Dad's face crumbled. "Sienna, please, we're your family." I looked at him one last time. "No, you're not." And I closed the door in their faces. 3 months later, I was painting my living room. Becca came over with pizza and paint rollers. She'd gotten a promotion at work after exposing Kyle's fraud ring. We weren't just allies anymore. We were real friends. As I painted over the old scars on the walls, I realized something. That coma didn't end my life. It restarted it. I lost my family, but I found my self-respect. And that's a trade I'd make any day. If you've ever had to fight for what was rightfully yours, you're not alone. Drop a comment and let me know where you're from. And if stories like this mean something to you, hit subscribe so we can meet here again.